Welcome back to AM Agenda. With me this morning, the Shadow Disabilities Minister, Mitch Fifield, and the Parliamentary Secretary for Citizenship and Multicultural Affairs, Kate Lundy. Kate Lundy, on the issue of Speaker,
yes.
Deputy Speaker, is the Labor Party still looking for a Liberal defector that might come and serve as deputy?
We're supporting Harry Jenkins now, and we understand the opposition will as well. So I think the fact that the opposition backed away from a signed agreement is a signal that they are wreckers, not builders. I think they're not even prepared to stand by that. Shows that with Tony Abbott it's back on. Only now we can't even trust what he puts in writing, which he made a big show about during the election campaign.
What about the deputy speakership position? You did think you had Alex Somerley as the deputy on Friday. He changed his mind on Saturday. He's still looking for a coalition defector there.
Well, I think there are still conversations occurring with that, and I think, as a few of my colleagues have already said this morning, it's going to be a very interesting place on the floor of Parliament tomorrow.
Senator Fifield, if Alex Somerley did go ahead with that deal, he essentially on Friday told me in a phone conversation that he was going to back the government on confidence motions and on budget supply bills. Saturday he issued a statement saying no, he's had a change of heart. He didn't want to be seen as a Liberal rat. If he did go ahead with that in the party room, it would have been awkward today, wouldn't it?
Well, look, Alex has always been a team player. He was a distinguished coalition whip, and his role there was party discipline, so I always would have been amazed had Alex done anything other than what the coalition party room wanted.
But do you think that that was partly because he lost the job as opposition whip, or was it... He said that it was about he wanted to enforce and help introduce further parliamentary reform in the position of Deputy Speaker. Was there some resentment, do you think, the fact that he lost the job as opposition whip?
Oh, look, Alex is his own person. He makes up his own mind, but ultimately he's a coalition man, he's a team player, and he's demonstrated that.
Okay, so the government has changed, well, you've backflipped now in terms of offering the deputy speakership to the coalition. Why is that?
Well, we're just trying to navigate and create a stable government. What we've been dealing with the backing out of the deal of the opposition that they signed to be able to pair the Speaker, I think is quite an extraordinary state of affairs. I don't want to underplay it for a second. Tony Abbott signed that piece of paper. He's now dishonouring the agreement to allow the Speaker to be paired. So that really puts the whole, I think, negotiation and discussion in perspective.
Well, as Anthony Albanese says, you can't eat your cake and have your cake and eat it too, is what he said yesterday on Channel 9. So you can't back out of the agreement to pair the Speaker and then expect to have the deputy role.
Well, firstly, can I say I think it's terrific that the Labor Party have finally decided to back their own Speaker, Harry Jenkins, something which we were always happy to do, so it's great that there's support from both sides for Harry. When it comes to the position of Deputy Speaker and the issue of pairing, we actually happen to think that the Constitution does matter. And the Constitution is clear that the Speaker does not get a deliberative vote, that he shall not vote unless it's a tied vote. So, as a matter of logic, you cannot give a pair to someone who doesn't have a vote. So, we think it's important that there's full confidence in the validity of all votes in the Parliament. We're surprised that Labor don't have those concerns, but that's our first priority.
Do you think it's fair enough, though, that in that context, if that deal crumbles, that then you should not expect to have the deputy speakership, given that you've backed out of that part of the agreement, that the government should not necessarily be required to go ahead with the other part of that deal?
Well, we support the Parliamentary Reform Agreement, and we assume Labor does as well.
Except
Our only,
that you don't agree with.
we support all of it except that part of it which is contrary to the Constitution, which is more than it's more than a debating point. And now that it's clear that that's the case, we would think that the government as well should also be fully in favour of making sure that the Constitution is fully upheld.
So for those that are watching this, Kate Lundy, the viewers that heard about the gentler, kinder way of doing business, it seems to have gone by the wayside,
well,
and very quickly before the Parliament even begins.
For one reason, and that's because Tony Abbott has decided to be a wrecker. He has an opportunity to participate in the parliamentary reform process, but right at the start, when the starting whistle blew, he backed away from that. So I think it's, even though Senator Fifield might be completely sincere in his support of the Constitution and his claim that it's unconstitutional, right at the start, Tony Abbott signed that agreement and he's backing away from it. That gives everybody, I think, in Australia a taste of what's to come. We have a wrecker as a leader of the opposition, not a builder.
Well, we support parliamentary reform, and there are some very good things that have come out of that agreement, but we also have a couple of other roles. We're also a political party, and the opening part of our party's constitution is that our objective is to win and hold government. Why? Because we happen to believe that our worldview and our governing philosophy delivers better outcomes for the Australian people.
But what about the language before the deal was done with the independents? It was, you know, we want this parliament to survive, we don't want another election. But now you're saying, well, let's do it.
No, not at all. I'm saying we're a political party, so obviously, you know, we would like to be in government. The second part of our role is to be in opposition. The